Hey everyone, we are Easy Allies, and it is time for the Resident Evil 2 spoiler mode. Final warning, spoiler alert, spoilers start right now.
Spoiler mode, final warning, spoiler mode, activated.
Hello everyone, welcome to spoiler mode. I am Michael Huber, joined by Ian Hank, Brandon Jones, and Michael Damiani.
Yeah, yo.
Oh my God. Jones, when you said that, now it's all I hear.
I can't help it. It cracks me up every time. But the thing is, I love it. When I say it back to him every time, I'm like, yo. Yeah. I'm going to shoot you in the kneecaps, yo.
Yo. I am very excited to be here today. We are going to talk about the story in Resident Evil 2, as well as some gameplay here and there. I'm sure it'll crop up. But before we get into it, I just want to know general thoughts, general loves, or disloves for Resident Evil 2. Starting at the end there, Michael Damiani.
Love this game, Huber. Absolutely loved, I think, every moment of this game. I love that I am now in a world where I have two awesome versions of Resident Evil 2 that I can enjoy at any time. And I was just shocked by how familiar things felt, but how much new they did in it, and it still felt awesome.
Nice.
Really good stuff.
How about you, Jones?
I am so happy. This is like the dream. It doesn't matter what franchise you're into, what games you love. Like Final Fantasy VII, it's like we're waiting for that remake forever. Yeah. Like this is anything any fan could hope could be done to a game, and the fact that it's sold so well, it's just crazy. I marvel at it. I actually have, and I'm here to discuss them today. Yeah. I have some issues with the story. There were some things I were kind of disappointed by, because frankly, I was spoiled by the story from Resident Evil GameCube. When that came out, I was just like, wow, I didn't think I needed more relevance, or I didn't needed more backstory, or them to kind of like add more to the story, because I think that was one of my biggest concerns, is like them adding stuff. And I think what impresses me the most about this game is the moments you realize that are similar, where you're like, oh yeah, this room, and then you go in the sewers and it's like, what in the world? You go into the lab, like this is completely backwards. And I would go past points and I'd be like, oh, I guess they cut that room, that's weird. And then later, like, there it is.
Yeah.
They're like, no, we're just gonna push it down the road, like the liquor not being there when you go by the window, but it's there in second. You're like, there it is. Yeah. I love it.
That's so good. How about you, Ian?
I loved it. My memory, I played Resident Evil 2 like when it came out, and I don't have any memories of it really. So this was like a whole new, fresh experience, basically. But yeah, I thought it was really well done. I thought I'd be more annoyed by Tyrant, because usually I don't love the sort of like unkillable boss chasing you throughout the entire game mechanic. Yeah. And I still don't love it, but like I think it made for some really thrilling moments, and I understand why they put it there to make urgency go up, because otherwise I would just kind of like trundle about the whole time, just like, oh, solving puzzles.
He definitely lights the fire.
Yeah. But yeah, I loved it. I thought it was really cool.
Awesome. All right. So the game begins, and they get to the gas station, which is different than the original. The original is at a diner, but kind of the same vibe here. And Claire and Leon, they meet up, and it's just like a slow reveal. They have that encounter with the cop, like, stay back. Did you guys like the intro? Did it suck you in? I know zombies are kind of overplayed right now in the media, storytelling. Were you just hooked from the get-go with zombies?
Was this a cutscene in RE2? Did you play?
No, you never got to play that part.
Yeah, I think that was the first thing that, like, I could just tell right away, because of course I'm like getting cozy for this game. Like, all right, okay, shutting the phone off, turning the lights off, put the wife to bed. Let's do this. And when the moment the camera came back and he was like, oh, let's just go walk into this gas station. Like, I must have spent 5 minutes outside of the gas station, just walking around and looking at the gas.
Which in second run, in second run, it made that part really weird, because I did Claire A, Leon B, and there's a part, they do the part where the camera moves back over the shoulder of Leon, like you're about to control it at the gas station, and then it just cuts through the entire gas station part. You don't play it at all in second run.
Right.
So I was like, that was jarring. I was like, that was the gameplay shot. Why I didn't play it? What's happening? But yeah, I loved it. Yeah.
How about you, Damian?
I mean, I kind of did a little bit of what Brandon did. I ran up to that "Welcome to Raccoon City" sign. Just kind of like marveled at it.
Yes.
Because like just having that moment there, I think it worked well. Is like just initially showing you something that's new, You never played this part before, so I think that was a good way to set the tone that expect to have more segments like this. Having played through the game now, I actually think the gas station part might be my least favorite of the game. But I don't know if there's really anything else they could have really done about it. I think just like the nature of the game, like everything else that's more exciting to me happens over the course once you first enter Raccoon City proper.
Yeah.
So, I mean, I guess it was nice to see, but I don't think I actually needed it. It was a nice little bonus, I guess.
Nice.
It's basically the tutorial, right?
That
It's
too,
like,
yeah.
Here's how you use keys. Here's how you shoot things, or in my case, miss things.
Here's how you can dodge zombies if you want. Like
Yeah.
that first zombie has an interesting little pattern where like it takes him a while to get up. So if you just run, you can run past him.
Yeah.
And then when you realize, which is classic Resident Evil, where you're like, I'm trapped in this hallway, and you turn around, he kind of goes past you first. And so you can sneak around him. And so it was neat. Like it wasn't until I watched videos, because I of course was like, like I took him down every playthrough. Yeah. And then I was like, okay, I want to try to do this really quickly to unlock stuff. Yeah. And that guy just ran right past him. I was like, oh, of course, duh.
Yeah.
But speaking about zombies, Huber, like I think actually zombies have become so prolific that Far Cry 5 had a zombie expansion earlier this year, and I was like, oh, that's great. I'm so excited to play like a first-person survival zombie game.
Yeah.
And then I got in, and it was all Left 4 Dead real quick. They had like glowing parts, and I was like, I miss traditional zombies,
Like
and I
slow
think
paced.
and I think that's something that this game did a fantastic job of, was like making me scared of these things again. You know, putting them in. I just thought today, like, man, they're placed in some devious spots, like the right outside the clock room. That guy is just right by that pole.
That guy.
And so
He got me once, and I said never again.
I run by him every time. Every time I go into that room, and every other playthrough, like I can get past him, but there's always that idea, like the beginning of the second campaign, like you kind of got to zigzag through them. It's easy in the first campaign when you're just in the burning streets. Like it's pretty easy to get past them, but there's one. I mean, they just put them just right in that point, and they very different from RE2. They move when they try to grab you.
Oh yeah.
So there were a couple
Speed
times I got
boost.
grabbed where I was like, I thought I was going to confuse it running by, but like
Mario Kart rubber banding. Dude.
Yeah,
I was like, what is
Huber,
this?
actually, like talking about that might be one of the small like nicks against the game when we're talking about zombie movement. Like I absolutely think it's phenomenal what they did, making them like frustrating to shoot and stuff.
Oh, they're
especially
so
if you're
hard
going
to
for like
shoot.
the head. My problem was always that it felt like at points, even when I'm in sprint, and I felt like I was clearly past a zombie, and it would turn and begin its sprint. It would somehow always like be able to catch me from afar. I called it like a friend of mine and me started calling it like the magnetic zombies and stuff, because like they just like grab you and like gravitate to you like that.
Definitely,
and
it seems like they should have been 8 inches away, and they get you.
Yeah, like you already passed them and you're running. Like there's no way it's gonna catch me, and all of a sudden it's like sudden jerk back. Like, it's like oh man, how did you get me? But it's like that same like it's like that feeling of frustration. Like, dude, I got past you.
Yeah.
How are you getting me? But then also just like makes you respect zombies more. It's that you better be sure that you know how to dodge them. Otherwise, it's you can't just like stroll by them. Like you gotta respect them.
Sometimes I could get away from you, like feel them doing the magnet, like getting so close, and you get away, and that feeling of in your stomach
Huber,
is so good.
It's
of
so
just like
good. There was a part. We'll get to it later. There was a part where a certain in a certain mode where a certain part there's a zombie that always is around a corner. And I always made him like rush at me and baited it to jump and walk around him. And every time he'd just like spin around at the last second and it would miss. But it was so close every time. It worked every time, but it was so close and intense. I'm like, this is going to be the time he grabs me. This is going to be it. It's just
Are you talking about in the sewer after the staircase?
I know that guy.
That part jumped out
I'll
of me.
talk about playing as a different character in an extra mode.
Yeah. Which I was bad at.
Oh, I did it once and was like, I'm never doing that again. That's a heartache. Like
Fourth survivor.
so.
Also, why is it called that? There are 5 survivors.
I guess.
It's 4 because they don't know about Ada.
Oh,
yeah.
Okay. Oh, right, because
She's
but
dead.
we know.
Yeah.
So
She landed on pillows.
So Claire and Leon team up.
Call it even.
They say they're going to RPD. They get separated. Raccoon City. All right.
Oh, you get. Oh, I'm sorry, not to go back, but that cheeseburger.
Oh, that
We gotta talk about that.
The best
cheeseburger.
looking like
The
food
very beginning
in
of the
any
entire
game
game.
ever.
The pointless semi truck guy that we never see again.
Oh, he's the
He's the one who crashes into you.
Oh yeah, he
starts
blows
yeah.
up.
He
Never mind.
separates the crew.
He blows up.
And
just
I
the
thought you would
air-
appreciate the shot when her hair is like blowing when the
yeah.
truck driver rams the zombie.
Yeah.
And it's that shot of just her hair like flying from the
yeah.
great shot.
But I remember first starting, I was like, cheeseburgers, random. Then I was like, oh, it's meat, it's flesh. You know,
Yeah.
he's consuming another animal for sustenance.
yeah.
You can see him savoring it. You know,
They're
It's
just
It's a
like
nod.
us, these
Nice.
zombies.
yeah.
So we get to Raccoon City immediately. Chaos, right? Did this part live up to your expectations, Damiani, or Ian? You haven't played 2 in a while, so maybe you didn't know how long
I
this was
remembered
supposed to
that
be.
part, yeah.
What was your guys' feeling when you were immediately dropped into the city?
So I played Leon A first.
Yeah.
And I gotta say, I was a tiny bit disappointed about how brief it was.
So brief.
But so you get there so quickly. I feel that it's just a byproduct of now you can like the camera angle, everything that's changed. It was, I think, had a little bit more impact in the original version with the fixed cameras. Felt more intense trying to get around those zombies, where this felt like a kind of like really easy just to run by them.
Yeah.
I will say later on, as you progress in either of the campaigns, you get to go back outside. That was phenomenal. But speaking simply to the opening segment for both, I played through both. I felt the opening was a little bit weaker than the original one, and in fact, I had some fun, Huber. After I was finished playing the PS4 version, I got this on PC as well, and I turned on the all the like cheats and stuff, infinite ammo, like infinite health, all that stuff.
Yeah.
And I noticed some of the zombies in the background are just set dressing. Like they're doing animations against stuff. They're behind
don't
cars
tell me
where they
this.
can never get to you, and you can shoot them,
No.
and they don't react to your guns and stuff.
Talk
So-
about spoilers.
it was cool to find out, Huber.
Yeah.
But they did that attention to detail. Those zombies are like in the distance. They're still doing stuff, but like there's clearly a blocked path. But at the same time, zombies in the original version in that opening would climb over cars. They would like on the bus. They're crawling towards you. And they didn't really do that. They were just like kind of lying on the ground or got up. There was like a big group of them at the beginning.
Yeah.
Just like run the other way. And I'm like, oh no, you don't have to like run past them. I was expecting it to be intense.
Yeah.
Like gonna get grabbed a lot, like until you know what to do. I was expecting, I think it was maybe a reaction to the original version where people had a hard time at that beginning. A lot of people die and like got,
I think it's just like a tutorial that like you don't have to kill these things.
Right.
You can get past them.
which
Good
is
call,
important.
Jones. Good call.
I
Very
think that was the
important.
I think
point
that's
is,
like an
like,
instruction. Like
you
imagine this
can't
is your
kill them
first
all,
Resident
yeah.
Evil, you know?
Oh, yeah.
And so you just go running right into the first
run.
runner. You just start shooting and you run an ammo and you're like, what am I doing wrong?
Yeah.
Great call, Jones.
I had a tooltip one time that when I got killed by a licker, it just said like, "There's no shame in running from a licker."
Yeah.
I was like, "Oh
Well,
yeah,
the stealth, I didn't.
I'm trying."
It wasn't until your review where you were like, oh, you can just sneak past them. And I was like, you can sneak. Okay.
Wait, you can sneak past
You
lickers?
can see that's
Yes.
because they're
Yeah.
blind. They just
They're
hear.
blind.
Dude, I had
was
it, and it
trying
says
to
that.
run by-
But there's a letter. There's a note that
Yeah.
says liquors,
Ruin
and
their,
it says
ruin their
says
sense of hearing or whatever.
But I had one liquor by the club door, that like the room that's like heart on one side and club on the other side that Leon and
Yeah.
both get into. But I was in that hallway, and a liquor, it ended up hitting me because I tried to run away from it, but it got up like it was just right in front of me, like trying to smell me.
Dude, Huber, even
never
with
even
the sneaking,
thought of
no, even with sneaking around though, the light flashes on them. They like feel the heat.
Yeah.
The one time I was trying to walk by when I was at a corner, it just made its little hiss.
Yeah.
And it started slowly coming out. And I'm like backing
The one in
up,
the kennel,
and
dude.
It's
The
still
kennel on the wall and
It's
yeah.
still
Yeah.
following me, and I'm just like, okay, just keep backing away. Super intense. Is like, don't go any faster. So scary.
Oh baby.
The one by the weapons storage room was like the good one to dodge. Like that, because you're crisscrossing past that
Yeah,
area,
yeah.
and it's a good. You can just go out of the west office and just kind of like, like straight over to the weapons room.
Yeah.
I was just sprinting
Book
past
it.
these things every time. That was a mistake.
But I mean, even there were some that was like that thing is miles away, and I would run down the hallway and it would catch up.
So fast.
I love how they play with your expectations, though, if you played the original.
Yeah.
Because you run past that window, nothing happens.
Nothing.
You run down that hallway, it looks the same. You even see scratch marks on the wall, and you're like, where's it coming?
Yeah.
Doesn't come. But they still do it in a great way. Like later on, this is Leon A. You're on the second floor.
Yeah.
The STARS
You're
office,
going to the
the
STARS office,
reveal
and
is-
you see the run across the window, and then you hear the window crash. And it's like, now they're down there and stuff. And I was like, this is so good. I love how they did that.
Yeah.
So
Well, I liked how the differences between Claire A and Leon B, like, because the hallway that the liquor was in for her, the bloody one where you get the grenade launcher ammo and it's on the ceiling,
Yes.
it's not there at all
Yeah.
for Leon.
Yes.
Yeah.
And I didn't have
love
a
that.
shotgun or anything by that point, and I was just like, where is it? And then I went into a different hallway and there was just a liquor immediately. I was like, bah!
But the beginning I thought was great, Huber, because I was disappointed when he comes out. He's like, "There's a police station." I was like, "For real?" What?
Already? Yeah. It's fast,
And I was like,
right?
"Oh, okay," because I did Leon first.
Yeah.
And then later, when you finally get out of the parking garage, and she's like, "We could go through that gun shop." I'm like, "Yes, we
Yes,
could.
we
Yeah.
are.
Let's do it."
That was
And
cool,
going
that
through
part.
his Claire and just kind of the walkway going around.
Oh, that part was
stepping up
legendary.
over the
Yeah.
dumpster. There's
The
just
basketball
lots
court
of-
with the lady zombie by the garbage.
Yeah.
Classic
Yeah.
stuff.
Oh,
It's crazy how that stuff really kind of embeds itself in your brain, and you remember. There were even like the beginnings of hallways and rooms where I'm like, I think this is even a nod. I think the room itself they changed, but they wanted to keep a little bit. So the lab, there were some
Yeah.
parts where I was like, but similar.
I like where dogs happen too.
Sure.
Because I remember dogs in other places and they were way different.
Yeah.
But
That Resident Evil 1 dog still
Oh, baby.
crashing through that window.
Can't top that one.
So liquors, actually, I thought we'd take the time to kind of just get the lore of them and the vibe of them and what you guys really think about what actually a liquor is. This mutated, experimented on zombie that has just been morphed into this bio-organic weapon to be sold to the highest bidder, to be used for war or for whatever nefarious purpose Umbrella has planned.
Yeah.
Does that stuff go through your head as you're fighting these liquors, or what do you
Well,
think
I was-
about the origins and the nature of what a liquor is?
I was wondering if they started as humans or started as dogs. Because in Claire A, you encounter liquors instead of dogs in the kennel. So I was like, oh, okay, maybe they're drawing that comparison there. But then in
they got the
Leon
big,
B,
long tongues, so,
there were dogs in there. So
There are some connections, actually,
probably
Jones.
toads in there too.
You'll appreciate this, Jones. There are some connections with liquors to Crimson Heads, because the Crimson Heads, it's called the V-Act, and it's when a zombie, or when someone stops breathing from starvation, their body goes into
Yeah.
survival mode, and that reactivates the T virus in them to give them superpowers or whatever. So
Whoa.
there's some similarities there with the
So-
liquors of really testing, the virus and the experiments.
You mentioned Crimson Heads. I was actually surprised they didn't do anything like that in this one. Because remember, you said the Resident Evil remake,
Yeah.
they changed the script by introducing Crimson Heads.
the things in the sewers, those are brand new. With the eyeballs on their
G
shoulders and
mutations?
the,
Yeah,
G
that
mutations?
barf out the.
I was wondering, 'cause I
slugs and,
remember
all that's totally new.
Only
place of
Birkin
spiders.
was the only one, right?
Yeah.
Well, in the original, when Ben or Irons, depending on who you play, gets infected by Birkin and the thing
Yeah.
pops out,
Yeah.
it turns into that weird boss. I think this is just a twist on that.
Okay.
It's just those types of things.
But just the whole dynamic of it being, Star Wars trash compactor style, being underneath the water,
Yeah.
and you could avoid some of them, and that one slog through the mud, to get to that room with the king and queen
Yeah.
plugs.
Yeah.
yeah.
Man, every time
Intense.
on every playthrough when I get there, it's like, here we go, because
remember-
you're forced to put yourself in a bad situation. There's no way to get
That's
around
the
it.
one room in both my playthroughs, Claire A, Leon B, where I left that room red. I was like,
Oh yeah,
there's something in there. I'm
Yeah.
not going in there
Every
to look.
time. Every place.
That's the only room. I was
Yeah,
like,
it's
I'm not going back in there.
Special item, don't worry.
Not worth it. Yeah, I'm like, I don't need the blue herbs. Thanks.
So
Yeah.
liquors, Damiani, we haven't seen them since Resident Evil 5. Did they live up to your hype?
Oh yeah, I love it when they put them in there. In fact, I loved how, we talked about everything, how they moved and stuff, but another part that just stuck out was down in the Nest facility later on when you're going through the hallway. Because I remember the original RE2, I'm like, there's a part where you go down a hall and they just fall from the ceiling.
Yeah.
And there's a part where it wasn't exactly the same, but it was starting to vibes or like that. I'm like, I stopped. I'm like, I'm going slow, and then two of them fall through, and I'm like, oh shit.
And the zombies get up behind you, too.
Yeah,
I
yeah,
died
yeah.
on stream at that part.
So I'm
That
like,
part is
also, and you can't
crazy.
run to
Yeah.
that door because it's shut off by the power. So I'm like, oh crap! I ran back as fast as I could.
Yeah,
So
I've
good.
I've perfected that moment. In the last run where I did the
yeah.
best thing ever. It's when the first one, because the first one falls and then a second one walks
Yeah.
out. So you have one on the ground and one on the ceiling. Flash grenade, regular grenade, regular grenade.
Look at this. Tossing them out.
That's all you need. One flash, 2 grenades, clear.
If you bet
The flash to get them off the ceiling,
Yeah.
and
Wow.
then 2 to.
So good, Jones.
maybe
So
I
good.
got lucky. I like backed up and just as clear just 2 fire shells and I killed them both.
This is what I love. These memorable encounters. You guys are just spouting off these exact moments, and you remember exactly how you dealt with it. It's amazing.
When I first finished it, the first thought that I had was not that like, yay, Resident Evil, or like, woohoo, nostalgia. It was like, this still works.
Yeah.
This design of like puzzles and like enemy threats and negotiating like, what do I want to spend ammo on? What don't I? What ammo do I want to use in this situation versus other things? And then 8 hours later, let's do it again. And then let's do it again. And then let's do it again. You know, like. It's like we can get into that later, but like some of my critiques are actually how the second run was handled, because I think it would have been nice even if that was just like 3 hours, really quick. Just so you have these 2 different experiences you can do.
Yeah.
And Fort Survivor is the same thing. Like, just this idea of like, we have the map, let's shake it up in as many different ways that we can and challenge you. Like, I would love if like a year from now they were just like, oh, here's free mode. And you're like, oh man, I'm totally playing this.
DLC on the 15th,
New
baby.
character,
That's true.
something.
February
yeah.
15th?
February 15th.
What?
Yep.
Oh man.
Oh, do you know who you play as?
I assume Ada.
3 different characters.
No, it's not.
Really?
Ada.
Yep.
Oh wow.
But they're what if scenarios apparently, Huber. They're not like
Yeah.
actually
Yeah.
what.
The whole damn
lore
game's
thing.
a what if scenario. This is something I need to talk to you about.
Okay, let's go.
I am confused because in my memory of Resident Evil, it was like one of those things. I guess I gave them too much credit in my mind or something, where it was like Leon and Claire were going through the same space at the same time. They were affecting things for each other. Like at the end of Claire A, you're like, oh, someone smuggled a G virus out. I bet that was Leon. And then you play Leon and you're like, yeah, that's what happened. That's
Yeah.
awesome.
Yeah.
And like in 2, like Claire was leaving notes for Leon and stuff. So they were justifying it a little bit, but like the same exact things happened.
The
and like,
puzzles were
and the
the
puzzles
same.
were reset and
Yeah.
like all that stuff.
Can
So
we
it's
get
just
into this
like-
now? Because
Sure.
this is my major issue with this game.
Because I was pretty
I don't want to
disappointed.
disrupt your schedule, Huber.
No,
but
to preface it though, they announced to some disappointment that they were not going to do
Right.
the A and the B scenarios originally. They got a lot of backlash. I think this second run was a last minute thing to add replay value and to kind of appease fans.
But
it
wait,
feels that way.
Yeah.
But refresh my memory. So they were completely separate. Like Claire did this stuff, Leon did this stuff.
In
and
the
they
still-
original,
affect
in the
each
original
other?
version,
In the original?
version, they're A and B are each paired with each other, and you do go through
Some
your
things
unique
affect.
things. And yeah, like you can take a weapon, which you might leave for the other person.
Right.
Like, there's
Yeah.
stuff like that.
Okay.
There are I think a few slight inconsistencies, but for the most part, you're expected to believe that in each pairing, you're seeing each one's storyline
Okay.
through that.
but the puzzles still kind of reset a bit.
Because
And
like
the keys.
when Birkin comes down at the
Well-
end and stuff, I'm just like, this is the same. I was getting struck by the old ludonarrative dissonance.
I don't think. Yeah, Hubert. I don't think,
we'll
I think
talk
that's
about
not
something at the
there's
end.
some of the puzzles because like with the block because there's none of this in the remake, but the statue block pushing one with the gems.
Yeah.
I think in one of the pairings it's already done.
It's
for
already
you.
done.
Right.
Yeah. So
That's what
That stuff is so
yeah,
cool.
That's not
That's
in
what
there.
I would have
Sure.
wanted.
Yeah.
Like, even if it had taken 2 hours away from the second campaign, I think that would have been
right.
great.
I
You know,
agree.
if you had if they had just figured out some kind of story beat, and then you get back and this door's open now, great. You know, or I thought about this a lot. Like the big one for me, where I'm like, come on, they both extinguish the helicopter, and it's like, what?
Right,
That makes no
right.
sense. They both do the metal medallion
medallions.
puzzle. Like they
Yeah.
both. There's just a lot going on.
Mr. X clears the helicopter for both of you.
Yeah, they both bump into him in that spot,
Yeah.
and so it was like,
well, it showed up differently for me.
I think the I would have even taken just make this a super quick run through, have most of the doors open for you, and that's kind of it. Like because it's the second, because I get to choose who has the priority, who is really the hero of this
Right.
adventure, and then the other characters just kind of following the other person.
Maybe that other character spends more time in the city,
Right,
takes
right,
longer to get to
right.
RPD.
and then that justifies
Yeah.
it.
Yeah, that's what I was kind of
Yeah.
expecting.
Second run is
Huber.
like you're stuck longer.
But what if you're Leon and at a specific point, like maybe the first time you get in a room, you hear Claire. Like
Right.
you hear gunshots and you're like, and you hear get away from her. And you're like, well, Leon says is that Claire?
Yeah.
Because it there's the fence where it's like, hey, you doing okay? All right, later. And then there's at the end when he gets her on the TV.
Very
and then
rare.
they leave a note. And that's
Right,
it.
right,
There's just
right,
no
right.
synergy. And
Yeah, because in the
Can you
original
imagine?
too, they
But
had the
this-
walkie-talkies. So every
Yeah.
once in a while, they would be like, "Hey,
Sure.
just checking in."
Yeah, so they do have that one scene at the gate where you do like talk to each other, and then you talk to each other later on over like the voice con thing in the Nest facility. So they still had, I feel like they still had hints of that. They had that. They had, each one had unique elements. Leon had the Ada section. Claire had the Sherry section of the orphanage and stuff like that. Each one also has areas they can't go to. Period. Like Chief Iron's whole office thing is strictly for Claire, which is not like a throwback to the original. You could not go that way. That path was blocked off by.
You can't go to the generator as Claire. Yeah.
So I felt like they did.
The boss fights in the end are very
Yeah.
And
Leon has
too.
like 4 of them. Is that only in second run, or is that every Leon
Second
run?
run is Super Tyrant and Birkin 5.
Yeah.
Okay,
Whatever you do second run, you do you're on the
So
train.
whoever
You do
gets that, and Super Tyrant on the elevator.
And then the first part is just the first part is just you see the incomplete thing and you get the tease at the end with the fifth form.
That's
I mean, I get it. Like they had hints and nods to it, but I would agree with you, Jones. It would have been nice if they went if they could have gone further. That's I think that's the only place they could have gone up for me to improve this would have been
Definitely
just pushing that angle more. And as you said, like maybe playing more in the outside in the city for one of them would have been a good payoff. But I kind of expect them. That was more of a tease for maybe a possible the future.
Of course.
But,
Fourth Survivor kind of was misleading too, because even after I beat first and second run, I was like, dude, give me just a little more in Raccoon City, please. And the Fourth Survivor hunk thing is him standing in the city with like
Splash.
100 zombies.
Yeah. The splash screen.
false advertising.
So it was like, yo, maybe
You
they
like never
saved
go to
it.
the city, right?
No.
I died like so close to
Like the final
helicopter
shot.
when I
Yeah,
tried
it's the
it. I
final
was like,
shot.
oh man,
You,
Super Tyrant came around the corner and just punched me.
That
I was,
mode
like,
is-
I was on danger.
That
and I
mode
died.
is designed
man.
to teach you how to cheese that game.
So
Yeah.
I really want to get to Tyrant big time.
Yeah, Huber.
I'm going to get there really quickly.
Oh, yeah.
I just want to briefly mention Marvin, because Marvin is
yeah.
so
Oh,
great.
yeah.
They had a way to-
That voice that actor, dude.
Dude,
like,
I had a 5th playthrough.
legendary.
I finished my 5th playthrough last night to finally get the last of the raccoons. And I had a moment with Marvin that I had never had before because I loved when he was still there and he was just in that main room. And I was like, oh, he's still around. And then you come back and I'm like, he's going to be a zombie. And I'm like, oh, he's still there.
Yes.
You know, and like, it's so painful
It's
just
like
to see him it's not really clear if he got bit there, if he got bit somewhere else, and maybe like he got stabbed or something. And every time I would just come back in the room and he would already be wandering around. Like he'd be upstairs, like because I would enter through different areas. And this last night, I came down the stairs and he was still sitting there.
Yeah.
And he was just kind of thinking
Yeah.
to himself. And I stopped and I was like, oh, and I'm like, you all right, Marvin? And he just like looked up at me and was like, and then stood up. And Leon was like, oh no! Like as he stood up and got closer. And I'm like, I'd never seen that. I don't
So
know
awesome.
if it depends on what door you come into that room after.
I think it's a timing thing for him.
There's another big timing one.
Well,
that-
'cause-
Yeah,
we'll get
okay.
to that.
and the moment he kills him, he says like, I'll
Well, it's-
I'll set this right, or I'll be
Yeah.
sure to get out of here and let people know what happened, Marvin.
It was interesting for me because, as I said a million times, I did Claire first, but like Claire, he never turned in that playthrough at all, ever for me.
Really?
Yeah, in my entire first playthrough, he never turned, and then in
Maybe
my
you missed him.
Leon,
You have to watch
I must
to
have
a
just,
certain
I must have just
proximity
missed
of him to trigger him to get up and start acting like a zombie. He'll be lying down.
Maybe he was
there's a
just
part where
gone,
you can
yeah.
check on him, and then you'll be like, "Oh, he's
He's
still
like, "I'm
fine."
good.
And then when you come back again after that point at a certain time, if you get too close to him, like if you run around far enough, it won't trigger it. But if you get close enough, it will start the process where you go,
Right.
and then like it's like,
I guess because I never went back into the police station through the statue door. I went through the underground stairs and up. So I never went back in there, I guess. But he
Yeah,
was
it's
turned
totally
instantly
possible.
in my Leon second run because
Yeah.
I never talked to him as Leon ever.
I came in through the waiting room and he was already like when I came around into the staircase and was going down, he was at the bottom of the
Yeah.
staircase looking up. And
Same
he started
for me
walking
in my
toward
second run.
Oh, for me on Leon A. Huber, Marvin turned as I was being chased by Mr. X.
Nice.
That's what happened in the dev playthrough that we did.
Yeah.
I was right down the
I had to cut
stairs.
around it. So if you were curious,
Yeah,
if
the
you saw
director-
that, what the spoiler I cut out was it was Marvin sitting in the bench
Marvin
and then
turning.
standing up being a zombie.
Because I ran
like
down there
you
and I was
said-
like, Marvin, help me. And then he does a cutscene. I'm like, no. I was like, I'm
It
screwed.
hurts every time. It was like you were saying with the liquor and just playing on those expectations, right? It's like before the first time through, you're just like, is he going to turn now?
Yeah.
is he going to turn now? It's like when you finally open up the underground, you're like, is he going to turn now behind me? It's like so many times is he going to turn, and that's just, there's so much tension there. But
well, because everything in the game is like, it's a little comical sometimes where it's like, things are very clearly triggered by picking up this item, solving this puzzle. It's like comical almost. But yeah, every time I put in a medallion, I was like, Marvin. I'm like, and let me know, Marvin.
And I just love how he talks to Claire and Leon a little differently. You know, Leon is like, yo, first day, this is what you got to do, rookie, like follow my orders.
Oh, funny.
And with Claire, it's, you know, they talk very briefly about Chris.
Yeah.
Which is cool to hear a little about.
She gets the information right away because if you play as her first, he tells her she's not here.
Yeah.
Whereas if Leon's first and you do Claire's second, she doesn't know for a while.
Yeah.
Oh, funny.
That notebook. She finds
You
it.
have to get to the stars room.
Oh, fun. Well, that I mean, I don't know if you plan on talking about this, but that letter, when she says, after you read the letter, she says, that doesn't sound like my brother at all.
He's writing in code.
Oh, okay,
Yeah.
okay.
He's like covert ops.
Things are bad.
Going to take down Umbrella.
Yeah.
Is he 3 then? Or what? I don't
He's
remember.
He comes
Code
back again in Code
Veronica.
Veronica with
Okay,
Claire.
yeah.
So they're both in that one.
Okay, okay.
We'll see.
So which game is he off doing right now in Europe? Or is it not like that really?
Like Code Veronica's pretty close after this.
Okay.
We never, other than that intro in Code Veronica where she is actually assaulting a European Umbrella base and then gets captured, we never really see like European bases in the main line.
Okay, okay.
Save it for the remake, baby.
Yeah.
They'll have
Yeah.
They'll have that
Claire is
sequence.
assaulting a European umbrella? Man, Claire just goes full
Oh,
badass.
dude, the Code Veronica opening cutscene, Ian, legendary.
I need to replay Code Veronica. It's been too long.
Really difficult one.
Yeah. Maybe I'll watch
So,
you
okay.
play.
Oh, I thought we were at Mr. X. One last little thing that I loved was when you pull Elliot out of the shutters
Yeah.
and he has the notebook.
Yeah.
You know, I love that Marvin and him are kind of also aware of like these puzzles that need to be utilized to
Yeah.
escape the facility.
Yeah.
And you're picking up documents along the way, and it's really painting this picture.
Well, that's what
of
Resident Evil 1
the
remake did.
siege. Yes.
Is actually try to make sense of why is this house so weird? You
Yeah,
know, like
yeah.
why is
The
this
context.
And so I like reading letters where they're like, what the hell? Who? You know, like who took the buttons off of the
Yeah.
weapon locker
Oh,
machine?
yeah. Spencer said
Yeah.
the whole story about like who designed it. I forgot
George
about
Trevor.
that already. Yep.
Well, and
Trevor,
I like in this one because
Jeez.
you have the notebook already in A of all the solutions to the thing because it's not all bloodstained and ripped up like it is in B.
Yeah.
But then you find a letter somewhere else where someone is like, this guy says there's an underground tunnel. I think it's all bullshit, you know? And it's just like really funny that like even in the world of the game, they're like, this is ridiculous.
Yeah. There's a lot of cutscenes. There's not a lot of like non-cutscene storytelling, but my favorite moment is when you put the first medallion in and it moves and Marvin is like, so Elliot was right.
Yeah.
I love that
See,
moment.
Hubert, I liked this in this game a little bit more because I think it was like one document that told you back in the original one that like the police station was a converted museum or whatever.
Yeah.
Whereas there's actually like I think there's even one part where Claire
Yeah.
points out like, oh,
Who would
you
do
know,
that?
Yeah, it was nice to have them more actively like paint that picture that why is this place so big? Why does the police station have all this stuff? Oh, because it's a converted building. Yeah, that's kinda
Gigantic
cool.
library. Like, what?
Yeah, why is
She's just like, what? Who does that?
yeah.
Yeah.
So, Mr. X, Tyrant.
Mr. X.
Tyrant hype. The culmination of the Tyrant program going all the way back to Resident Evil 0 a little bit, but Resident Evil 1, you know, we see the Tyrant, and this is the next step of that. This is the evolution because, you know,
In disguise.
in disguise, but more in disguise.
Unassuming. This guy
Put
could
on
walk
a
down the
hat.
street and nobody would bat an eye.
More in disguise than
8'5".
say, you know, the one in remake or the original with the giant claw, you know. But the idea that this weapon can blend in, but also follow orders.
Right.
It has intelligence. It knows to hunt survivors. What was going through your head with Tyrant, everyone? I want to know where you were. Were you just thinking in the moment of like, I got to get away? Or were you also thinking about who this person was, what he stood for, what was going on with this weapon?
I mean, yeah, the line of dialogue obviously made it clear that it's, you know, what its orders were, that it had like a purpose to be there. It wasn't just this random thing that showed up.
You only find that out in Leon, right? or is it in B?
Leon A, I think, is.
And
there
that was and that
'Cause
was
I found that out in
taken
Leon
out.
B.
Well, I thought that was interesting. You actually see it deployed in 2. You actually
Yeah.
see the helicopter.
So we're gonna get into that,
That like
Jones.
drops it like
Really?
a bomb. Yeah, it's like,
Jones.
and you
Yeah.
can see like 6
There's
canisters underneath the
6.
helicopter.
Thank you.
And it like drops one of them, and you see it like explode, and he's like
When is
like
that?
a missile. It's right before
Yeah.
the
in the original.
Yeah, it's like
Oh, in the
it's like
old
near
one.
the
No,
helicopter.
okay,
Yeah,
Yeah,
it's
sorry.
not in this one.
And
I was
he
gonna
just
say, I did
he
not
just
see that.
shows up in this
Yeah.
one. He's just there. So
Which begs the question: we're gonna flash all the way forward. I'm sorry. Is there more than one?
in the accosting you in the game?
In the game.
Or is that just the same?
Is there a
Oh,
second
is
one?
it-
Is there a
No.
second one that is sent to Nest to dispose of Umbrella, whatever, and get the G virus? Because even though there are inconsistencies with the first and second run, Birkin takes out Mr. X, the elevator, rips him in half
In the first one.
in the first scenario when you're Claire, and then if you're
Yeah.
Leon second, it shows up at Nest, full trench coat, back in action.
Yeah.
Is it a second one, or
Yeah.
did it regen? Is it just a narrative inconsistency?
I mean, to me, it would have the most meaning if it was the same one. He's like, not you again. You know, kind of like that raptor in Jurassic Park when Laura Dern sees it. She's
Yeah,
like, not you.
humor.
You know, like they have a history.
Yeah,
Yeah.
I mean, I didn't really think about it. And I'll be honest. I don't think it really for this game. I don't think it matters.
Yeah.
I thought when you're saying flash forward, I thought we were gonna say like if they do an inevitable like remake of RE3, you know,
We'll get
maybe
there.
we'll see more that paid off. But for the purpose of this game, like. Yeah, I don't think that mattered too much to me.
Just
but
the
what I
one.
loved, the change I loved. I know we said like the cutscene got axed, but I love the first sequence in Leon A when you're introduced to Mr. X. I thought, I ran through the East waiting room. Oh, I'm done with this. I'm safe. I'm now in the main hallway, and then. Boom, comes through the door, and I'm like, wait, what? Excuse me? No, I played RE2. It's just a scripted sequence. You gotta stop. I'm like, all right, maybe I gotta go a little further and stuff. Go down there, as I said, I triggered, Marvin comes to life as a zombie. Oh, crap. And now Mr. X is still coming. All right, I'll run down the corridor because I gotta go, unlock a door or something. Go down that corridor. Zombies are alive. I'm like, okay, I gotta take my time. Liquor's in there. Door slams open. I'm like, are you kidding me? Are you still coming? So I got Mr. X, zombies, and a liquor in a tight, small corridor. Yeah. And I'm like, what? I'm so freaked out. I'm like, that's it. Hubert, I ran in circles in the library around him up
classic.
the stairs.
The library's
and
great,
Because
yeah.
I was just like, stop coming after me. Stop, please. It's like, give me a moment. Stop. Like,
It seemed-
no quarrel, peace, dude.
Yeah, seriously.
The things that were cool is because it seemed to me if you went into not the dark room save room because he would just wait around outside for you, but if you went into a straight up dead end, on the roof in my second playthrough or Leon whatever, when you go in and says somebody lose a key and it's taped to the whiteboard.
Yeah.
If you're in
Yeah,
that room
the
or the
board
room
room.
behind the clock tower,
Yes.
Couple safe
you can hear
nooks.
him walking away. Which
Yeah.
I love, but I actually saw him a couple of times. I caught glimpses of him looking for me on
Yeah.
a different floor. He
Yeah.
would go into another room, and I'm like, okay, he's going that way. That's safe. The other thing that I thought was cool, a funny little thing, because I knew what he looked like before I saw him in game, my own playthrough, is that you can see hats of his kind scattered around in a few places.
What?
Yeah,
His hats?
his
Fedora
hat,
hats?
Upstairs, right inside the room before you go to the balcony. There's a hat on the couch that I'm pretty sure is his hat, or a hat similar to his. Maybe I'm wrong. Maybe it's more of a cowboy hat sitting there. But to me, it made me think oh, that's Mr. X's hat. Maybe he's around. That was the first time I was like, oh no, here he comes.
Lots of great details. Lots of stars posters and stuff. Lots of fun bits.
The matching jackets.
Damiani, my worst was I would always, I think I killed it on the first run, but every subsequent playthrough, that one between the West Office and the weapons lockers, I always left that alive because I'm like, I can sneak by this
liquor
guy. The
or
liquor,
which?
yeah.
Yeah.
And I was just picking something up on a run around the corner by that long hallway on the very west side of the whole building, and X was chasing me, and so I go running through that area with the desks, and then past the room where you first get the bomb, and by like the heart door, and I like open up the door and I can hear him thump, 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 like coming up behind me, and I'm just like, baby steps past the liquor, baby, and I'm just like, he's right behind me, and I just waited until like the door opened behind me, and then I just run, and then, like so just that idea that I'm like stealthing through a room, like knowing like impending danger is coming. And I saw some people on social media were like, I'm not scared of Mr. X at all. He's like, I know how the system works, and it's just kind of annoying actually. And like I could see how it kind of threads that, you know, like it's a difficult balance, because in some ways you are gaming him, you know. It's like the library is a classic run around spot. But the ladder in the library I love. If you go over and climb the ladder, he'll just stand there and be like, wait.
But it's great because Umbrella is testing them, you know? It's testing these weapons in combat scenarios.
Yeah.
So the fact that it has a loophole, to me, is a defect in their merchandise, if you will.
I danced with annoyance when it came to Tyrant.
Sure.
To me, he's akin to like a screen death moving level in Mario, you know, where it's just like that, because that's what he's there for.
Gotcha.
He's just there to make you go faster and to turn up the heat. And like as a pure game mechanic, like he is just the screen moving after you.
And he's really only in, like, you know, if you're going through leisurely, you're not doing a speed run, you can get through in like 5 hours. Like, he's really only
Took me 9
on you.
my first playthrough.
He's only on you for like what, a third, maybe a fourth of it.
Yeah, like the first.
Yeah.
You do have like
second act,
you start
maybe.
to find out that there's points where he will
goes
stop
away.
changing, and there clearly are points where he stop. But like I think even for, I mean, it's interesting to see some people like it didn't like nothing for them, or they just saw it as like a gameplay mechanic only. But like the sound of the footsteps,
dude.
Like anywhere you're at, like the impact that had on especially first playthroughs of each character, just like the intensity that came with that. And Huber, you're gonna love this. Like my thought after that first experience with him where he wouldn't stop, I just like went to my friend. I'm like, dude, they made it like the Terminator.
Yeah, Terminator.
He will
first
not
thing that
stop
came to my mind. Yep.
until you are dead. I was like,
Kyle
he just
Reese every
keeps
time.
coming. I was like, this is great.
Yep.
I love that introduction. I personally would have loved it if they like because as you said, Ian, you didn't come. You came back to the mansion a different way. In fact, there are parts when you know how to play the game, you don't have to like come back to the mansion really at all, or even for that long.
Yeah, RPD.
RPD. I'm saying mansion. Back to the police department. I felt like if you wanted to go back to the police department and get all the extra stuff, all the upgrades, that would have been the perfect time to deploy. Like Mr. X is just constant there.
Yeah.
Like if you're going back for the optional stuff, you think you know the layout, this is going to add another layer. And I think that would have been like, they should have like upped the enemy difficulty. Like if they were going to do Crimson Heads, that was the time to do it. Like, you're going back in that safe spot.
Yeah.
So that was
Hunters.
kind of a little bit of a letdown, because once you'd gone through and triggered like everything, and like liquors had shown up and everything, that was pretty much it. You weren't seeing anything new.
Right. I mean,
in the police department.
counting Tyrant and G-Virus, there are 6, 7 enemies types in this game. Zombies, liquors, dogs, G-Virus,
The plant people,
and then the 2 bosses. 7 enemy types in the whole
But
game.
Birkin changes 5 times.
Yeah.
Which is
I'm not
awesome.
complaining.
Yeah.
It's actually like interesting that, because I kept expecting some other weird wrinkle.
Yeah.
And I was like, oh, okay, plant zombies, great. Which, I don't know, for you, did you all do Leon first?
I did Leon A first.
Weird. Okay.
Early
But,
in the first run, yeah.
because like I was running low on incendiary grenades at the end
Yeah.
of Claire, right? So
even if you try to save them, it's tough.
No, so I like couldn't burn those things, which is the only way to get rid of them forever. So when I went through there with Leon and the flamethrower, I was just like, I was like, you're not a problem at all. This is great.
Oh gosh,
One of the
that's,
best flamethrowers ever.
Oh, yeah. And I did in my second run, I went back to the hiding places to get the mag upgrade and more
nice.
Giant
more
Magnum.
juice. The giant magnum, but then I only had 3 bullets for it the entire rest of the game. My Leon second run, I was in some dire,
the second
dire
run
situation.
has got some bite to it.
There was a part. There was like a good 40 minutes where I had literally no ammo, 1 knife, and no health at all. I had when I came back to the garage, and the 3 dogs were there, I had to bait them to the door and knife them because if they even like ran by me, I'd just die immediately.
Oh my gosh.
And then like you went into the thing, I had no ammo at all. You go in, you solve the jail cell thing, and then there was one healing thing in there. I had no ammo. They didn't give you any. I healed up. I was like, okay, I'm set, and I knew the zombies would come out. I'm like, fine. I see the writing on the wall. But then the cage is all open, insane amount of zombies and tyrant. And I have no ammo and no health. So the first time I got decimated, and I was almost like, oh man, I'm done. I botched my run.
I thought it was so clever.
It, and I was like, okay.
Because I just, for some reason, just instinctively, like a reflex, I dropped a flash grenade when all the zombies kept walking out of the cells. And like they all got stunned, and I was like, "Oh, I'm so smart!" Boom, like
Tyrant,
from Tyrant.
Yeah. I wish I had a grenade.
I also love that Tyrant smacks zombies around.
Oh
yeah, if somebody's in his way, poof, and like I don't know if I'm sure you could probably game this, but like selfishly, I would have loved it if he fought Lickers. If Lickers freaked out when he was in the room, and like if you're walking really slowly, they hear him, and like we'll go over and like just imagine a Mr. X Licker fight. It'd be so epic.
Awesome.
Slams
and
it
it's
down.
a fun way if you can maybe think of that. If you're like, oh well, as long as he's chasing me, maybe I can lead him into a room and have him deal with zombies. Maybe they'll grab onto him and like slide along the ground, like hanging on his legs or something. Or like,
I don't know if it's Leon or second playthrough, but like when he burst through the wall of the press room.
Yeah.
Because he never did that for me in my first playthrough where he came through walls
That's
at all.
what I was just gonna.
Is it second run or is it Leon?
it's both of their second runs. It's
It's-
different
okay,
locations,
so it's
though, I
second
think.
run.
Yeah,
But yeah, when he
it
burst through the
doesn't
wall,
trigger
I
every
was like,
time.
"Ah!"
Yeah, because I never had it happen to me.
Oh, really? It was awesome because it was scared the hell out of me and it opened a shortcut. I
Yeah,
was
that
like,
shortcut
"Thanks."
is key. Some people
know
think
the
it has to do with the light switch in that room. If you turn it on or off, no one really
weird.
knows exactly how to trigger that moment.
But I never
It was
ran into that room to run
crazy.
away from him, so I don't know why he would have. I never would have seen him even break through it if he did. Like if he went back there and he did it, I just didn't pay attention. So,
Yeah.
but someone told me like, "Oh, did you see the scene where he breaks through the wall?" I'm like, "What are you talking about?" Like,
Yeah.
because I was like, "He break through any wall? That seems kind of game breaking." Then if he could do that, and they're like, "No, it's just one wall," and never
The
happened.
classic
Oh,
press
and
room
it
It
wall.
was so good.
And
dude.
Hubert, just to touch on like what I like about this game, because I will get critical of it when we start talking about like characters and story and stuff. But like, I love the unlocks with weapons are skill based.
Yeah.
I love that you can then take them through every playthrough, and with the exception of S plus, it doesn't
Love that.
account for
Love that.
anything. So like, you get that knife, you get that pistol with unlimited ammo, and like use it now. Like you can use it to get good scores. You kind of have to.
Wait, you get a pistol with unlimited ammo?
Yeah, so you do standard campaign in under 3 hours 30 minutes. The main one, you have to do the second campaign in under 3. And it's not. I was like 2:30
You wanna come over to my
something.
house, Damiani?
It's not bad if you follow a guide. It's not bad.
Okay.
If they specifically tell you, because there's just a lot of fluff. There's like 4 or 5 rooms that just
you never have to go
extra
in.
stuff, but no plot. No,
Especially,
no
too, if you
puzzle
know
elements or
the-
Like
anything.
the gem and stuff. I was thinking,
And
I was like, oh, you don't even
if
need
you
this.
know all the combinations and you
You're like,
know
pop, pop, pop.
Okay, there
because
we
all
go.
all the
Yeah.
codes change the medallion things switch between.
I have a
characters.
feeling they're gonna
they
add a. I'm holding out hope. They're gonna add a randomizer. I know it.
Sure, a B.
Oh yeah, that'd be nice. But puzzles in this game, Huber.
My favorite.
Um,
I adored these puzzles, guys.
think they did
Ian,
a-
I really want to get your thoughts
yeah,
on
I
this.
think they did a pretty good job. My one disappointment, Huber, because I was paranoid. The first not the Leon lock in his desk, but I came across a locker with one of the locks, and I'm like, oh, I can't just
the
like
Jazz
I can't
Festival
brute force this because it's gonna break or something. I bet they're gonna punish you. There's no way they're just gonna let you brute force this. That's too easy. And then I went through and did it. I found like almost solutions. There was one I couldn't find the solution for. It came later. I decided, screw it. Like, I just want to, let's see if it works, brute force it. And I was able to brute force it. I was so
How long did that
disappointed.
take?
A 3-code lock? You
Yeah,
just
didn't
did every
take-
combination?
Yeah, didn't like.
How many different combinations is that?
It's not that it doesn't take that long if you know how to do it.
Damiani,
Yeah, no,
70 or
dude.
something?
I
And
love you.
I was so that's my one disappointment. I
I-
wish you got like only X amount of tries and it broke the lock and you can never get that
Oh.
because there's no crucial items hidden behind just like the those regular locks
Yeah.
or even the safe locks. I was like, that was so cool if you only
get
got
some
like
yeah.
3
pouches
tries
and
and then
stuff.
like they lock
snaps.
you out.
Damiani, I love how you look through a game and exploit it and break it and take advantage of it.
You see the
I always
code.
play by the rules. I'm always so
It was like
straightforward, you know?
It was
I
like
love it.
one of the last ones, the last locker. It was the Jazz Festival posters.
Yeah,
how you're
yeah.
supposed to do it in
yeah.
the underground facility.
Yeah.
And I just hadn't gotten to the poster yet. I'm like, you know what? Screw it. I'm gonna try this, and it worked. And I was so like torn up about that. I was like, no. And then when I found out the solutions are the same on both, either whether you're Leon or Claire for the first version, and then the puzzles are the same for the second version, same solutions. I was like, I mean, inevitably you're going to memorize everything, but I thought it was going to be at least 4 different sets.
Yeah,
Not
DCM, baby.
But I think that works for speedruns. Like that's the difference in your playthrough. You have that first run where you're not, if you choose not to use a guide, where you're really just at the elements of just looking at notes, trying to piece all the things together, like the photograph of the statue with the book.
Yeah,
you know, it's
you
like
don't
that's
need it.
worthless.
I ran back up there after I'd already done it, and I was like,
how to
oh,
use it.
damn it.
And that's the thing. When you follow a guide, like they tell you, like, you're not going to get to it for another 10 minutes, but just bring the book with you because on your way back around, you're just going to grab that. You know? So it's like there's a lot of time-saving tricks you can do that way. But like I love the little keypad stars, like
those are
button
great.
locks.
God, I love those.
And they were fun. Like when I first did the playthrough, I actually like wrote down numbers and wrote the codes down. And then every other time, I was like, let me just see if I can do this really fast.
Right,
You know,
yeah.
like,
Yeah.
just
That's how
keep
I
pressing
do it.
them, and then
Like
eventually
a Simon thing,
it'll stick in,
essentially.
stick in your brain.
Bossman didn't
It's
like
funny.
those.
I
don't know why.
Yeah, it's funny because my reaction to those the dial safes and the letter safe combinations was sort of similar to yours, but opposite. Where my initial assumption, because I hadn't seen any codes yet, was like, do I have to sit here and brute force these things? Like my lack of faith in humanity. I like texted Huber and I'm like, do I have to brute force these things? And he's like, you'll find them. I'm like, okay, good.
Like I loved how the capturing the feeling of having to examine items again, like find all
Yeah,
the
dude.
switches to hit.
I love that
Like,
when you look at an item, it'll put a name to it. So
Yes.
all the plugs are just plugs.
Yes.
When you look at them, it's like, okay, night plug.
Everything.
Bishop.
I'm OCD about that, Jones. Immediately, I'm just like,
Huber. Like my first playthrough, that's all I did. I wanted to find everything. I wanted would not move on until I found it. I couldn't find that for whatever reason. I kept overlooking was the laundry room that had like the second RPD lock thing to get the last
Spare key.
the button to put on the panel, the key button. I was like, oh my gosh, I gotta find this. Like it has to be here and stuff. I want that last upgrade pouch because oh man, upgrade pouches.
Feels so
Inventory
good.
management in this game, Huber. It was so important in this game. Like I was so worried that was gonna
perfectly
get passed
balanced.
over.
Yep.
Still
Expertly
in
balanced.
full effect in this game.
Absolutely.
We got to move into all the things that you've been saying you'll talk about later. 'cause
sorry,
we're
yeah,
running
go
out of
ahead,
time.
Go ahead.
We can move it along. We just really, I do want to touch on a couple things. We still need to talk about Birkin and Sherry and Ada.
Yes.
Dude, Ada sequence with the electronic
Loved it.
gun
Yeah.
thing.
So Arkham.
I was like, whoa.
Yeah.
This
Oh
is
yeah.
very unexpected. I didn't.
The
I didn't
worst
see that
is
coming.
there's one, she gets dropped into an area and you got to loop like all the way around and find this cord. And
Yeah.
like there's all these zombies that are
Zombies
asleep
coming
and
after
they
you.
wake up when you go by them. And
You get a
again,
trophy.
The guide that I
Yes.
read was just like,
Love that.
keep running. You
That's-
know, like,
that's
You get a
when
trophy if you don't use any weapons as her.
Love that.
really?
Yeah.
Oh,
Just
That was
the-
my
Yeah.
second
before you pop
playthrough,
out of the
I was
sewer
like,
grate, you can like
oh,
open that
God.
door before you do it.
That
yeah.
with Ada right there is when I just started shooting zombies in the kneecaps.
Yes.
Because I never did that before. I was trying to kill them all, and then I was just like, I'm just gonna run by you.
But as long as we're talking about Ada, like just in general, I got so spoiled by Lisa Trevor. Like,
Of course.
you go back and play Resident Evil 1 Remake, and they add this whole new character to it that not only like is given its own portion of the map, but you can kind of dig deeper into this character. And even when you find all of the material that the game gives you and understanding who this character is, there's still a lot you don't know. There's a lot a lot of
It
gaps
paints
you
the
kind of have to fill in.
franchise though a lot.
And gave more. Was George Trevor in the first game? Did they reference who?
No.
Because it's the Spencer Mansion, but he designed it.
There are
And-
documents
There
in
is a
there that
document.
talk
Yeah, there is a
about how he
document.
Okay.
invented the stuff.
built
But
Yeah,
just,
yeah.
but just
And Spencer
him,
killed him.
him talking about like I'm trapped in here and I got to deal with all these stupid puzzles and like I was like, wow, providing context for this silly PS1 horror game, like kudos, they actually kind of pulled it off, and like I just didn't think there was any effort in this one, and like I don't think it was necessary, but I was a little bummed out. Like at the end of the day, I'm kind of like, yeah, I'm not really into any of these characters. I think Sherry was done better. She was just kind of like a little scared girl. I like having you play as her. I thought that was great. But Ada's just like, she's a really weird character to me. Like she's very showy. She's like a secret
Right,
agent, but
right.
she's like, it's like a fashion show. And like, I mean, that's the design question. But like, why is she so angry at Birkin? Why is she so incensed at this woman? It's just a mission. It's just another job for her. Like, is she always this pissed at like marks that she has? Like, Why, it's like you walk by her in that glass where you can see her walking down the hallway when she goes by. She's like, I'm going to get you. And it's like, well, why? Why do you care? Like, she even tells Leon, like, I'm going to take her down. It's like, okay, thanks for telling me your plan, secret agent.
When she's around Leon, I could see it being a performance because she's pretending to be an FBI.
And that's the thing is, I think there is an interesting story there. Like, you have this woman who realizes I can use my feminine wiles to get this guy to do what I want. I can use this cop who cares about doing the right thing and is and knows his way around weapons and can possibly not save me but can just help me get around and take the brunt force of all of these things. I like that moment where he gets hit by the crocodile and pops back up like, thanks for warning me. And she's like, sorry, and it was like that's the Ada that I want. And it was just confused. Like, does she really care about Leon? Like, why is she so obsessed about this mission?
I liked at the end when Leon was just like, I can't believe I miss her.
Yeah.
He was just like, you idiot, And I like that. I think they both feel that way.
I thought there could be a little more manipulation from her. I thought would have served the story well because it just sets itself up naturally that way. Yeah. Otherwise, she would have completely ignored Leon. Like, why is she even bothering with her? If she's able to stealth around this environment somehow and evade him like she does, when she does show up, like, why are you even giving me time of day?
Right.
I like that she said she was part of the FBI. That's an amazing cover,
like
rather
that.
than looking for her boyfriend John.
Right.
Oh, right. Yeah.
And after it's funny, Jones. After 8 games, or 9 games, whatever, 0 through 7, we still don't even know her real name. Is her real name Ada? We don't know. We don't know her true motivations.
Right.
We've played as her in 4, in 6. We still know very, very little about who this character is. And that's something I do want to see in the future, like Resident Evil 8 or 9 or whatever. Like, really, really give me something with.
She was the protagonist.
Yeah.
That'd be cool.
Oh, yeah, that'd be
That
nice.
RE4 remake.
But when I think going back to her bitterness towards Annette, there's a moment where she accuses Annette, did you kill William so you could take credit for the G? Yeah. I think she puts this entire thing on Annette. So, of course, she's going to be upset and emotional and pissed off that an entire city of millions is on the brink of annihilation because of what this one person did.
Well, and I think Ada does hate Umbrella, doesn't she? She's working for Wesker
because she
for
says,
his own shit.
Leon says, did you get what you want from what's his name in prison? Who was great. I loved Ponytail.
Ben,
I thought
Ben.
Ben was great.
Ben, that's who Ben is.
Yeah.
But
brief appearance by
when he
Ben.
says, did you get what you want? And she's like, no, I need information so I can figure out who's responsible for all of this. And so it's like, okay. But again, why are you telling Leon that? I
think that's part of her cover.
To move away, it was just weird. And admittedly, we don't know. Like, it's not like they had some big conclusion that I wasn't satisfied with. It's just like, I'm just kind of, I think... I think there was some more things they could have explored with her character. But moving on, because you did ask about Birkin, Annette Birkin is the weirdest, dumbest character to me. Like, what is she doing?
She's trying
to. I don't know what she's doing.
I know she's searching for her husband, but
she's trying to put him down.
But there's a couple scenes where you see her, she's taking notes, and it's like, what do you do? What are you doing? You're like,
she was making
she's kind of running around.
She was making that gun device that she used at the end on Birkin.
Oh, that was acid rounds, right?
Yeah.
That she's using. Like,
I think it's
even a special thing.
It's like antiviral rounds.
Yeah.
She just kind of seems, she doesn't care about Sherry, and she just kind of seems aloof and just out of it. And it just seemed like there was more going on there that I missed. And because we got such an insight on George Trevor in the RE1 remake, I was just spoiled. And that's why I had these thoughts. I would not ding really, at the end of the day, I think this game is exceptional. It's just, you play it 5-6 times. Yeah. And I'm like, okay, these little holes start to pop up. And that was a big one that every time I would bump into her, I'd be like, lady, what's going on? Why are you so distant? And why are you, and we really don't get we get next to nothing as far as William is concerned. We get his emails at the very end. We get to see his lab, but I would have loved little piecemeal.
There's some
bits
a little bit with him
as
and
we're going
Irons.
through.
Him manipulating Irons, bribing Irons to cover it all up. I love those documents.
I like how the emails. William Birkin is a jerk.
Yeah.
Oh,
well, that's the weird thing.
They're both very selfish people. They're horrible parents. And,
I think that's the thing. I think both of them, they both are aloof. I don't think they really do care about Sherry all that much.
No, because Annette is annoyed.
Even in the email, she says a child is the only thing that would actually be implanted by the G virus, and it's she full well knows that her daughter, I think in her mind they may have even had a child to test that. Like
and
to some extent.
that's it. It's kind of the same thing with Ada using Leon, her manipulating the child, like hit the gas on that, baby. Let's do it. You know, like just go for it. You know, like and just Annette was just kind of this weirdo that I bumped into. Like I just every moment I was with her, I was not like, ooh, what a reveal. You know,
it's funny to me though, like that. It's interesting to see a woman, a female character portrayed like that, because you know, if the roles were reversed and the monster were Annette and William Birkin were this cold, aloof science guy, like we wouldn't bat an eye, because it's like you're used to a man being career focused, and then you would probably everyone would read it as like, oh, the mother monster is just trying to get her daughter back, but it's so big and dangerous that it's, you know, like that's how everyone would read it. And so I think it is interesting to have it flipped like that to this cold robotic woman.
I loved her arc personally, and just because she's in that position that of like, my daughter's in trouble, gonna die, but she even says millions of lives are on the line right now. I don't have time for you, even my own daughter. She like shuts her off, dude, shuts her down. Finally, because of Claire, like, dude, are you kidding? Like, you're ridiculous. Like, this is your daughter. Like, help. Finally kind of snaps her out of it. It's like, all right, let's go back to the lab. And then, you know, she has like somewhat of a redemption arc of like helping save Sherry, but I thought it was good.
Kinda.
Yeah, kinda. No real redemption. I also really loved the moment where she has the chance to kill Birkin. That little flavor there, things that they added, a little bit of just I've got, I can't. So
yeah, they did that interesting this time, because there was one single cutscene back in the original RE2, like the story of like Annette and William, and then like the Hunk's team going in, but you see it in the 2 VHS tapes. If you see that, plus the 2 flashbacks, each angle is perspectives unique to Claire and Leon. You get the full story that way. I kind of liked that.
I liked that.
Like that.
I liked their take on it too. Like Claire, after watching the first video, is just like, "Well, I'm glad I watched that." And then Leon, because he's a cop and is used to thinking detective, he's like, "I bet those rats spread the G virus."
And I love that, because that's.
And I was like, I never even thought of that. Yeah.
In regards to the Sherry though, I did like what they did with Sherry, because
and the orphanage, right?
The orphanage sequence,
cool,
really good. Reading those diary entries about what was going on with like the orphans there and stuff, and like basically the hands of like Chief Irons there, like just showing how like adding more onto like how horrible of a person that was. That sequence was really good.
Biggest monster in the game.
It was really like just getting into his like little like office at the end and seeing the body on the table, because they don't really explain it in this version. That's interesting. They did an interesting direction.
I remember there being something
the
more about
daughter.
It's the mayor's daughter.
And I think
Capcom is tracking how long we're staring at Mayor's daughter, though, because they released those.
It's
stats.
gonna be one of the what if scenarios in the
funny.
DLC is playing as her. So I wonder if we're gonna get like more story behind that. But it was a very creepy storyline in the original one between what the
refresh me. I remember there being
in the
something.
original, Ian. There's Chief Irons straight up has a medieval torture chamber below his office.
Classic, like you do.
Yeah, I was hoping that we would get that the medieval vibe, but you kind of like go down in there and it's just like boxes and
he's
nothing,
just like a
but
general.
He's just
normal.
We just had to read his
normal
like taxidermy entry about like how he essentially was like getting off on like hunting and like stuffing the animals and stuff.
Yeah.
Like it was like,
And so he was stuffing her.
Yeah.
And then stuffing.
So that they didn't go, I don't think they get a lot of information on that, Ian, because I think there was like 2019 and like, we can't go that far with that. Like, it's not cool.
Well,
Well, the
creepy
document
also when you go back through as Claire, and like the room has been disheveled because William came in and knocked everything around. Bodies like
pinned.
So good.
2 tables.
There's
same if you do.
One of the first documents you pick up after seeing Irons says, we love him. He's our leader of the community. He helps with the orphanage, abused women, and animal preservation. We see him do all of these things. We see him. We see him abuse children, abuse women, and he's got like taxidermy animals everywhere.
Well, and he's on the payroll of Umbrella. And the
corrupt.
Well, you find that thing. The orphanage is entirely just a test chamber for testing the stuff on children. Just crazy.
They do it a little. Yeah, it is interesting the slightly different angle they take in RE2, because in RE2 you find out that like he's a rapist. You find out he's a rapist.
The
Umbrella
old one?
found out. Yeah, he found out. Umbrella found out about him, made him become the chief because now we can hold this against
We
you.
have
It's
leverage.
like we will
Right.
expose you if you do this and stuff. So it was more than just hey, we're paying you bribe money and stuff to do it. Like this. I think they did a good job in this game though of showing how trashy and horrible of a person he was because that's all it would take for him is like here's some money, you get to run amok and do what you love and stuff, and that's enough to like keep you in line.
Did he not give a damn when Claire mentioned stars? Did you think it was weird that he didn't acknowledge that
He
or
goes, "Yeah,
did
my
it make
brother's
sense?
Stars.
Yeah, when he is like attacking her, she's like, "Hey, my brother's stars." Like he's the chief of police. It's stars. He
the
would
Stars
immediately
office-
know. He'd be like, "Dude, are you like?"
Either
He just didn't care at that moment.
Either he knew it was up and knew Chris wasn't there. It's like and just like what he's like ignore it, or he was just like so focused on what he was doing, he just like didn't care because that whole sequence was like really different and like extreme, especially with Claire's is like get down and like sure I will kill her
So
if you don't do. I was like,
intense.
jeez. I was like, okay,
But like his whole goal is to get the locket because he knows that the thing to open the cure is on the back of the locket. Why does he want the cure so bad in this?
For Birkin. I believe he's doing it for Birkin. I don't know if he knew at the time that Birkin was mutated. I think it was just his mission to.
So Birkin told him to get.
I think he's trying to like deliver it.
Okay.
So I think.
maybe
And and again, that's kind of what leaves a bad taste in my mouth. It's just like Ada's super crazy at Birkin. Why? Annette's kind of aloof. Why? Like Irons is just crazy, scary, raw. Get back here, little girl. Like I need more info. Like it was just all
psycho.
of that stuff was kind of vague.
I think they're all just bad people, Jones.
Yeah.
There's that.
I think they're all just bad people.
All the bad people survive. Unfortunately, the zombie apocalypse hits.
That might be
There's
accurate.
like-
Who knows?
You get one cop, one biker. Everyone else is evil.
Yep.
We are very close to the end here. Very, very close, I promise. Do you want to talk about William Bergen specifically? We haven't really dove deep into him.
Oh yeah.
Just the that not necessarily uneasy alliance, but he kind of like saves the day when he takes out Mr. X at that part, and again it's
Daddy, no.
it's a little more
That's how
right.
Claire
It's-
figures that out. Yeah, that's cool.
so there is like kind of a tragedy to it. Obviously, you don't really sympathize with Bergen because of his goals, but
And he's just a jerk.
yeah, he's just a jerk. But did you like the tyrant is just this merciless killing machine, whereas Birkin is just you see the human disappear and just the stages of Birkin.
I like in the first fight with him, you can hear him like, please.
Yeah,
you can hear
yeah,
like kind of forming words. I like that the eyeball popping out is in gameplay. It's not in a cutscene. You just like automatically see it happen. I like that the second head when that pops out and just kind of represents this like that's literally the G virus, and then by the end, it's just his head's gone. It's just completely taken over. Actually, the
voice
most
is crazy.
the most emotional Birkin moment for me that still resonates every time when I go back through is Claire with Shelley, and he's like, "So was that your mom?" And she's like, "Yeah, she's just she works here." He's like, "Where's your dad?" She's like, "Oh, he's gone."
Gone.
Yeah, dude.
That she knows she's not exactly sure, but like she hasn't seen him in a long time, so she's like, he probably just succumbed to his work or whatever. He might be dead. He might be a monster. I don't know.
What was your favorite form of Birkin? 1 through 5.
The train, man.
The train
Five.
one
the
is
train
so
elevator when
freaky
it
looking.
climbs up the side and then like cannonball comes
that
back
one,
down.
that one.
Fourth.
Yeah.
Fourth one. Okay,
It
yeah.
does the, like,
I loved it because it
little
was
charge.
It was a combination, right, Damiani? It was the
When you have the
dog
minigun.
form from the end of 2, but then it was on the train, which is like the third form, really. So I like that they kind of like combined those.
Well, and it's such a
it was-
classic
yeah.
horror movie development where he just becomes this huge Akira, like eating a train, like
Oh, dude, the final one.
Oh yeah.
Just the imagery.
Still loved how intense it was, even if getting the minigun essentially. Yeah. Still like you still feel like you're vulnerable
Yeah.
in that fight just
Yeah.
because of the.
It was a perfect mix of like, oh, this is the fun. They're giving me the fun part of fighting
fun
this.
gun,
like
yeah.
but then you're like, you get hit, and you're like, oh, okay, no, this is still a real fight.
Yeah.
And also, it's a great twist because that elevator with the yellow train on it is how you get to the lab
Yeah.
in the original game.
Ah.
And I liked that when I took the cable car to the lab and got out, I was like, oh, the lab. And I'm like, no, this wasn't, no. And then like took a right and then the doors open up. I was like, okay, weird. They really changed this up. And then near the end, like, there it is. There's,
I liked,
there's that train
I liked
elevator.
both Claire and Leon's reaction to seeing a cable car down there.
Yeah.
Like they're just like, oh sure, why not? Like cable car down here, okay.
Not the strangest thing I've seen today.
Yeah. Whatever.
I love that they called it Nest. You know, the lab. They just gave a little more backstory to the.
Which wait,
like
isn't
the
that
lab.
from the Resident Evil movie? Don't they call it Nest in
No,
the
it's called the
first?
Hive.
Hive.
Big difference.
Yeah.
I loved Mr. Lee. I can't remember his
Yeah,
first
yeah,
name.
yeah.
they
Wayne, I
Wayne,
think.
Walter Lee or
Wayne
something.
Wayne, I think Wayne.
But I love
Liu, maybe?
really subtle. You know, it's in there, and I think I just flew past me the first time, and then on subsequent playthroughs, I was like, oh, that's him.
He's
and
in the
you
nap
get his
room.
emails, and then you take him out when he pops out, but then you get his code, and then it's, oh, welcome back, Mr. Lee. Here's your email.
Yeah,
welcome
yeah.
back.
He keeps
'cause it thinks
referring
you're
to you
him
as- yeah.
because you have his security thing.
I loved that in the nap room, he's half out of it, and just that nap pod is riddled with bullet holes. It's
Yeah.
like somebody tried
There's
to.
just a lot of. I
Yeah.
think honestly, Huber, the best thing about this entire video game is the world. Is how they set up the distances between things, the tools that they gave you to open and close things versus what the other character was given. Where Mr. X approaches you, which rooms have a little loop that you can
Yeah.
maneuver around.
Oh,
him.
when he comes in the plant
and just
room.
the details, just how each room,
jeez.
even when a room doesn't even have any plot stuff going on, just little
It
like a
still
little
tells a
thermos or
story.
something, just this like really felt
The
like
stars
a realistic
room.
place.
Oh, so many
Seeing
details.
Barry and Jill
the VO
and
in Nest is
Chris's
a little silly
desk.
because it's like, welcome to Nest, have fun, and it's like it doesn't say that when everyone shows up. What? The first person in the morning, like, welcome to Nest. You know what I mean? Like the door here.
Well,
welcome to Easy Allies. I hope you enjoy your
You have a
work
visitor.
day.
You
Ian.
have a visitor badge when you first get in there.
So
So it would say that
okay,
to
sure.
visitors. Yeah.
Did you back off from
All
that
right.
door? The main door when it opened, it goes,
Please
please
stand
back
clear."
off.
I did.
I thought it was going to insta-kill you if you were too close.
As Claire, I stayed clear. As Leon, I made a point of
Yeah.
being under it the whole time just to see what would
I was
happen.
like curious. I was like, that's going to fall on you and insta-kill you. I'm waiting for that.
So
Yeah.
we're at the end. Leon gets the virus to give to Ada, and Claire gets the devil cure to cure Sherry. Of course, she cures Sherry. All is well. But then Ada, the turn. Ada
Yeah.
turns on her, or turns on Leon. Virus drops. Ada drops. We know kind of what happens later down the line in other Resident Evil games, but would you want for DLC, because my number one DLC desire
happens to
at
Ada?
this point
Yeah.
is continuing Ada.
Yeah.
So Ada post game,
Yeah.
Sure.
Resident Evil 2, is that something you
Like
you,
how she gets out? Yeah. That's what I assumed the first DLC would be.
Yeah, it'll probably be after she falls. She probably fights some stuff. She tosses the rocket launcher to Leon.
Yeah.
And then,
Says we're even.
the rest of her getting out of there. Yeah.
Yeah. That would be amazing.
I would love
I
that.
expect that.
While the whole place is blowing up, maybe
did
you have
you-
to clear it in 10 minutes. Or
Oh, I also like the context of the self-destruct when you're going down the elevator and you
Yes.
see
yeah,
Yeah.
the generator. Like,
I
or
love
whatever.
that last sprint through zones you've never been in
Yes.
before,
Oh,
but the
yeah.
counter's going down, and it's just kind of like remember it's just like a little microcosm of the whole game.
Yeah.
And they know you are loaded to bear. Like they know
Yeah.
you got all of your first aid sprays, all your Magnum ammo, and so you're just like I think like that's like my favorite flamethrower part. I just flame everybody.
Oh, yeah.
and then Super Tyrant comes.
Well, Mr. X bursts in only in second run
yeah, he,
or only as Leon?
Only as Leon, because if Sherry's there,
Oh, right.
Sherry
He's
is
dead
the yeah.
But you only have the
things.
Super Tyrant fight in second
in
run?
second run, yeah, it's a
Okay.
second run fight.
Okay, because when I was running in the room that Sherry has to unlock the door when you're Claire, Tyrant came in, Mr. X came in there, still in his trench coat, and I was just like,
Yeah.
you had to
Oh,
run
wait,
around
you
him.
fight. Leon always fights the elevator fight. Claire always does the cart fight.
The cart fight.
Oh,
It's
right, right.
No matter
Yeah.
what run it is, it's just who fights in the train.
In the
is
train.
the second
Yeah.
run.
Okay, okay,
And
okay,
the,
yeah,
the
yeah, yeah.
train
That makes
dudes,
more sense.
I don't
Yeah.
know why. Maybe I got to see the ending of RE2. Maybe it's like the same exact ending. But like, I remember there being more synergy of like meeting at the train, where like when they talk on the camera, it's just kind of like, all right, you're getting out of here. Well, I'm gonna get out of here too. And then Claire gets in the train and just takes off.
Yep.
Yeah.
And like Leon gets on the train by sheer luck.
Yeah.
Whereas like I remember actually, aren't they like waving? Like
in the original, they're like,
RE2?
get on!
Yeah.
Get on!
And it's like she's almost like surprised. Like he comes into the main room and she's like,
Like, oh,
"Oh, we
hey."
got out of the way, Sherry. Oh, what's up, Leon?"
Yeah,
She's
she's like, oh, hey.
Yeah.
She's like, grab onto a moving train, no big deal.
They do
Thanks,
this.
Claire.
They do the classic line swapperoo, right? Where, because in Claire's, Leon said to me, I told you we'd make it. And then at the end of Leon's, she says, I told you we'd make it,
Yeah.
or whatever. Yeah, that was cute.
I think so.
Couple nods here and there, like Ada says, "Stay alert"
Yeah.
when she first meets Leon.
Stay fresh, stay
And
stay
then
sharp.
Stay sharp.
I think.
It's stay sharp.
stay
Yeah,
sharp.
nice. And then,
Shoots the dog.
yep. You say something, Dami?
Yeah, I have a question.
Mm-hmm.
So when you get the true ending after you've played a combination of both characters, the truck driver part. So at the
Love
end,
this.
so
The release.
For the end, they all walk out. They're like on a desert road somewhere,
Yeah.
and they see something approaching, and they're not sure what to do, and so Leon decides to stay in the middle of the road while they stand on the side, and a truck driver comes by, and you're not sure, and then they just like flip you off.
Love
With
it.
a really short finger. It was weird.
Is that was a random driver, right?
Yeah,
So
it's not
random.
okay.
So totally random guy.
I was like,
I like his style.
is there a
though.
payoff here? It's like,
I
No,
love
totally
that
random
moment.
guy.
It was
So weird.
It felt like such a relief from playing the game. I was like, okay, we're a little comedy.
The world is
And
still here.
The world is still here.
Right.
Yeah.
This guy doesn't give a damn about what you just went through.
Right.
Get out of my way.
Also, like, I guess Raccoon City is in the American Southwest. Have we known
I thought it was
that?
supposed to be
American
the
Midwest.
Yeah.
Midwest. Oh, okay. Yeah, I guess. I thought there were mountains in the background of that shot.
The
but-
Did I
Arc-
misremember?
the Arclay
Was it a
Mountains?
desert?
yeah, the Midwest does not have mountains like that, really. But
Yeah. What didn't it look like the West? Like how like
Looked like
Arizona-
Nevada
yeah,
desert.
it looked like
Arizona.
Nevada.
Yeah.
It looked like
Yeah.
Nevada or Arizona. But
Just
So,
making
yeah.
sure I didn't misremember that because it's like, how do you go
yeah, because
from
didn't
like
he-
this?
I thought it used to be like Appalachia almost, like eastern.
Because
Weird.
the
American
mansion is up in
Midwest
the mountains
town
and
of
the
Raccoon
forest and
City.
stuff.
Weird.
Yeah, I don't know how those two could
There's
be. So
not a
close.
desert in the Midwest. They're the Great
Yeah.
Plains.
Anyway,
So
yeah.
that's pretty
Whatever.
much it.
Maybe it's plains. I don't know.
And then we do get one. So the happy day, right?
Right.
Ada bounces.
Sherry's
Leon
like, you
and-
can adopt me.
Such good vibes. Like, can we get a dog? Well, it's like really just good vibes all around with them. And then we get one small snippet of lore after this, and that is actually in The Fourth Survivor with Hunk. Because we know about the Raccoon City destruction incident, and that is mentioned in The Fourth Survivor, which I really appreciate.
You're, talking about
You're
the-
running,
it's
you're
the
running through
VO
his
where
Hunk.
They say,
When you're about
orders-
halfway through.
It says orders from up above. Cleanup package is being
Yep.
delivered.
Yeah.
Like, you got to get out of there.
You got to get out because it's
Oh, they're gonna nuke it.
the
Yeah.
city's about to be wiped out. So I thought that
I
was
must have died right before that. I died like.
There was a
shortly
cool-
after
cool
getting into
nod.
the
When you
police
first
department.
reach the lobby
The West
area,
office.
and
Ah.
you finally get out of and you're going into the West police
Okay,
office.
I died like literally right before I got there. Damn.
so I just appreciated a little bit more context there and just a little bit of Hunk. Anything, I'll take any
New weapon,
Hunk
too.
lore. Yeah.
Hunk's got his own. He's got that assault rifle.
MB5, yeah.
Yeah.
So,
What a cool game.
Very
man.
cool game.
So that is it. We did it. Resident Evil 2. I think we threw everything out there.
I love when he's got the flashlight out. If you reload, he puts it under his chin,
Yeah.
reloads, and then picks it back
Hunk
up.
is cool.
Like, it's all those little details. Mr. X will like lean in through a doorway.
Yeah,
when he
love
comes
the
in,
lean
like-
in.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah.
Oh, weird. He was
Pretty
just
game.
in the hallway when I. Oh,
Pretty game.
you're just talking. Yeah, yeah.
Just any door.
Yeah. When he's.
So we're getting some DLC on the 15th. Ghost Survivor. You get to play as Kendo,
Yeah.
a Umbrella security service like Hunk style character, and the mayor's daughter, Catherine Warren.
Oh, weird.
So 3 what if
I
scenarios,
hope
I
Kendo has
guess.
some fun guns.
Oh yeah,
Because I like the
shotgun.
special guns. Even you can read on it when you examine it. It says
Yeah.
Kendo.
Give
Yeah,
me
we-
like the
Oh.
most powerful
Yeah, we haven't
shotgun.
mentioned like that. Yeah, what
Yeah.
happened with that, man?
Oh.
Yeah.
His daughter and stuff.
Flame rounds. Yeah.
Have you guys? Just real. We'd be remiss not to mention tofu.
Tofu.
Have you
So
guys tried
so
tofu?
Tofu is
Yeah.
what you unlock after. It's
You
same
just have
thing.
to clear
You have-
Hunk?
You have,
It's the only thing in the game to me that's filler because again, it's just replacing the Hunk dialogue. It's like, all right, this is
Oh,
a
yeah.
fun
It's
little.
Or is it-
Hilariously
it's just
here-
fourth.
yeah, tofu.
It's the
just-
same thing but with
Okay.
different
Exact.
weapons.
Okay.
And then when you beat it with
Knife
tofu,
only,
you unlock
or?
2 more. And if you beat it with either of them, you unlock 2
Yeah.
more. So there's a total of
2 more what?
tofu
5
versions.
tofus.
So there's
Oh.
there's
With different
basically
weapons,
There's
different
like a
look.
tofu that has like mostly grenades. There's one that has like the flamethrower.
Mm-hmm.
And they're just like impossible, right?
Well, one of them I
Tofu's
beat
tough.
it with tofu, and one of the one when you look at the screen, the one on the left, I beat it with that one, as well, but I haven't beat it with any of the extra 2 or the one on the right yet.
And they're all just they're all tofu.
They're different loadouts, essentially.
Yeah.
Oh, the one who looks like just their gibberish that they say. I think it's
so
gibberish.
funny, yeah.
It's kind of funny.
It's
yeah.
really good.
funny.
They're wearing like Jill's beret, Star's beret.
That's funny.
Classic.
Funny.
All right, that's going to do it. Resident Evil 2 remake. I think it's safe to say that we all loved it.
Yeah.
Loved it.
Nitpicks here and there, but
Ultimately, way above expectations.
Yeah.
Like way more surprises than I thought was going to be packed in there.
yeah.
Play
And
it with the original soundtrack.
oh my god, it's legendary. It
Wait,
is
is that an option?
for like the pre-order or whatever, the deluxe edition. Hopefully they just release
Different
that for
outfits.
either free
Nah,
or for like
it's
a couple
paid
bucks.
DLC.
It's kind
It's
of
out now
expensive.
to buy?
It's kind
It's
of
either
expensive.
the 15th or it's out already.
Okay.
I think it might be out already. I almost bought it and then I didn't.
It is mind-blowing how well it fits.
Yes.
The music, it's so amazing.
And they like crank it up. So like,
Yes.
you hear
Yeah,
that.
I barely heard any music the entire game.
And yeah, just judging by Resident Evil 7's post-game DLC and content, like there is, and already the Ghost Survivor's coming out on the 15th. There is still more to
Am I
come.
allowed to say what was found in the game?
What's up?
Are we allowed to say what was found in the game through data mining? Or is that off limits?
We're out of time.
Yeah, data mining is like set photos, so I'm gonna bar that.
Yeah.
But we're way out of time. We do gotta go. Stay tuned, obviously, for more spoiler modes on Easy Allies Patreon, and probably more Resident Evil 2 discussions as more allies get in the conversation and more DLC gets released. Thanks for joining.